Hello and welcome to another adventure of Scott Bush from the park bench. And today I have two very special ladies as my guests. To my far right is Dana Karow. And Dana is a very successful lady in our business, and that's why I wanted to talk to her today. And I want to talk to Dana about what's going on in the future of our business. I'm going to pose some questions that direction. And Dana, a little bit about Dana. She also served on the Realtors Youth Foundation for, it's got to be 10 years, but she also served as president for 6 years on the Realtors Youth Foundation. And Cindy Fleming, I got her out of her garden. She is retired. She's not a member anymore. And I dragged her over to the GMAR office not the GMAR office, to the park.
To the park.
Of course. And
We're at the park.
I would really like to ask Cindy, get her perspective on looking back at our industry. So I really thank you, ladies, for being so giving of your time today. But I should a little bit more about Cindy, though. Cindy was a broker at First Weber, served on the board of directors, was our 2012 Realtor of the Year, and also on our professional standards committee for many years. So Cindy brings also a wealth of experience. And how many years before you retired was it, Cindy?
38.
38 years. Okay, so
Wow.
you're
Yeah.
I call this show Scott Bush from the Park Bench because now Cindy's joining me on the Park Bench because that was the metaphor I always used to talk about retirement. I would say, by 2021, 22, I'll probably be on the Park Bench. And now it's 2025 and I'm still not retired yet. So.
I am, and I'm on the park bench.
Yep,
We are on the park
so
bench.
Scott Bush from the Park Bench. So, ladies, why don't we get right into our show before we roast to death from the stage lights? How's that?
It's the
Sounds good.
sun out in the park today.
Yes,
It's really
yes,
hot.
the sun is very warm.
It's warm.
Yeah, and if you've ever seen any adventures of Scott Bush from the Park Bench, you know that Dana Karow's Youth Foundation, one of the groups that we give funding to, the kids actually created the backdrop for us.
So great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you ladies a couple questions, and I want to start with Cindy. You know, your career is behind you now. Are there things that you can let agents know that worked for you, that were consistent, that now you can share your secrets, right? I mean, you might even be able to sell them.
I can.
Yeah. I mean, what are some of the key things that really helped you succeed? And you really had a successful career.
Thank you. Well, I had to make money when I got into real estate. It wasn't will I enjoy this? Might it be fun? It was a career decision. It was a decision based on the fact that I'm a high energy, assertive person. I had the skill set for the things that were necessary in real estate. I knew a lot of people. And not being successful was not an option. I had to succeed. So my headset was that way going in, all or nothing. I gave myself 6 months to make it. If I didn't make it in 6 months, I was looking for something else. So I was hyper-focused. And I made a list back in the day of all the people I knew. And my A list was people who knew me and would probably give me a shot knowing I was new. And my B list was people that, I don't know if they'd give me a shot, but they might. And my C list was, I don't know if they'd ever give me a shot, but I know them, so I'm going to let them know what I'm doing. And I worked that sphere, and I mailed every week, and I made sure I came up with ways to stay in touch. Long before your CRM stuff today, which is amazing, but back in the old days when the dinosaurs walked the earth, as my good friend Donna would say, Donna Zarek, another realtor. Anyhow, I just made sure to stay in touch with those people and let them know I was here, available, and interested in working for them. That's how I began.
Okay. I want to ask Dana somewhat of the same question because Dana, another successful person in our business, and certainly retirement for you is down the road, right?
It's down the road. I don't even.
Yeah.
It's not even on my calendar yet.
Right.
I don't know when I'm going to be sitting on the park bench again. But
I know. So you've been enjoying some success in our business, and now I don't know. You may not be willing to share so much because you give away your secrets. But
No.
I'm kidding. But what would
I always say there's enough real estate to go around, and I don't want all the listings. I hate to say it like that, but it would just consume my life even more than it already does in a good way. But it's just, you also need time for yourself. So I would say I'm not, I know, we have these CRMs now. I would say I probably started just like you did. I've been in the business for over 21 years now, and we didn't have the social media and all of that going on when I first started. So it was also mailing postcards. It was actually starting with new construction open houses. So I ran every single weekend were open houses, and you would just meet people, and I guess you just become very helpful. I'm a very helpful person. If I see someone in need, or if someone asks me a question, I want to respond to them, and that just keeps people asking you questions, and then knowing that you're in real estate and you're selling, and it's all referral based for me. I would say that I would say 99% of my business is referral based, which is, I think, pretty incredible. So you don't start, you have to grow. You don't start at the top right away. You have to grow into your business and kind of prove yourself, and let your sphere that you talked about, let your sphere help you grow, and you nurture that growth. A couple of the things that, some of my secrets, I guess are not even really secrets, but some of the things I do is I just make time. If someone calls me and says, hey, I'm having an event, or I'm having a birthday, or hey, I have a question, you make time and you attend or you respond, and that's, even if it's last minute, like I include a lot of people. If I have a happy hour or something, I just start texting like crazy. And 50% show up and they're like, thank you, I was sitting at home. Or it's just being inclusive to as many people as you possibly can. And I don't know. Being present.
I do have a cute story to say though about when you're new and you're letting your sphere work for you.
Yeah.
When I started, first of all, you need a great support person at home. For you single people, I give you a lot of credit. But my husband was incredibly supportive. And my kids were 6 and 8 when I got in the business. And I farmed my neighborhood a lot.
Yeah.
And every time I sold a house, I would say, I just sold a house. I just sold another house. I just sold another house. And my kids were playmates with the kids in the neighborhood. And one gal asked my daughter, wow, your mom seems to be doing really well. How many houses has she sold so far? And she said, I don't know. She's sold so many, I lost count. And that was the best advertising. And I couldn't get over it. So people just thought I was always there and available and working.
But you probably were.
I was.
You were there
but
with
that
your
was
kids
great.
because you were living your life. I always say real estate is a lifestyle. It's not a job that you go to. It's you incorporate it into your life. You took your neighborhood and you made it your circle, and you would have anyway. I mean, whether you're a realtor or not, but now you had something to offer all of your neighbors, and you knew the neighborhood best. So that's really smart.
And for the new people, when you're new and you can't talk about how much you've done, talk about how good your company is and the success of all the people you work with, and you generate that interest. And if I didn't have so many sales to say, I've sold these, if you're interested, let me know. I'm happy to share the info with you. I would put out lists and say, here's all of the homes that our company has sold in the last year. Or not even mine, anybody. I'd be happy to share with you what those sales were about. And you become their source of information. So,
is there anything that frustrates you ladies in this business, or did you would observe maybe some behaviors or patterns, and you would sort of think you were sort of sabotaging your career by exercising these behaviors or doing these sorts of things? What sort of frustrates you? What can the industry do better, you think?
Communication.
Yeah.
And I could say too,
communication.
Yeah.
Showing reports. How easy is it now to fill out a questionnaire, and I still have to follow up sometimes 3 to 4 times outside of those questionnaires that come up to just get feedback, because my seller is wanting to know what can we do better? Are they interested? This is their biggest investment, and they want to know if someone's writing an offer or what they could change about their property. So please always take the time, even if it's just a yes, no, to do a showing report is frustrating.
What I've experienced in my 40 years is certainly today it's never been any easier to communicate with somebody.
Yeah.
Right.
With all the means of communications.
Yeah. Right.
But communication complaints are right up near the top.
They are.
And it really doesn't make a lot of sense because, like I just said, there's so many ways to communicate.
More ways.
Right, so I don't really understand that methodology.
Well, part of today's problem is there are agents that will only communicate by text, and you can't reach them on the phone ever. You can't have a conversation. And you lose a lot in text. You lose the emotion, you lose the true meaning of the conversation. You don't have the opportunity to ask more questions because they're making you feel like you're annoying them. And to me if you're that person, please don't do that, because it's the fastest way for agents not to want to work with you. Even agents, just not to want to. It's frustrating to me. You lose the respect of the agent who doesn't have enough respect to just respond to you. I guess that's the way to say it.
Exactly.
It's still a people business.
It is.
I mean, like I said, I've been around 40 years, and I've seen a lot of changes in our industry. I've seen a lot of changes in technology. I've seen a lot of change. But, it really comes down to remembering that, this is
It's a people business.
it's a people business. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, with the texting too, I received a call from a frustrated agent who I'd call a more senior tenured agent, someone who's been in the business a while, that they were trying to negotiate some issues with the sale of maybe a $750,000 condo.
Okay.
And the other agent wasn't being responsive. Just text me, just text me. And it was very difficult to communicate the dynamics and the complications and the nuances of the transaction that way. So
Correct.
I can understand that. So Dana, a younger agent, someone who well, you've been around a while, but what is your perspective on the? Do you see the culture clash of the technology?
I do.
Look at you have your phone.
I have my
here.
phone.
You have your phone
My
for
notes
your
are my
notes,
phone,
and Cindy's
right?
got the old-fashioned
I
paper.
still write
Yeah.
out my calendars. I
Right.
still handwrite. It's just that I was like quickly writing some notes that I just wanted to share. But there's a time to text and there's a time to call.
Agreed.
And there's a time to email.
Texting is a great tool.
Yeah.
If it's used properly.
If it's just like yes, no, okay, how do But if it's like, hey, we need to talk about this repair that we're getting done before closing and things aren't going quite right, or like let's make the plan. It's better to communicate and talk. I mean, you're really setting expectations more when you're talking with someone, and setting expectations for buyers and sellers is really important to avoid having emotional outbursts that, like, to me aren't really, everyone's on their high alert emotions when they're buying and selling, and you are to be the calm
Right.
in the storm. And in order to do that, you better have great communication with that other agent on the other side, or with your buyers, or with your sellers, or I should say and so, there's a time to text, there's a time to email, and there's a time to call.
And I've heard many seasoned agents say that don't get desensitized to those emotions of people who are buying and selling.
Yeah.
It's a very emotional business.
Exactly.
It is. And, sometimes just, you have to be a very good listener in this business as much as a leader, and a problem solver is probably the number one thing you need to be.
There's problems in every
area.
transaction.
I agree.
And it's not even just transactional things. It could be something completely unrelated that your buyer or seller is dealing with, and they just need a resource for someone to call for whatever it is. And the fact that you could provide that for them just makes you shine even more as a realtor, that you're a helpful party to go to.
Correct.
And a listening ear. We're therapists half the time. I went to get my hair done the other day, and
Looks nice.
Thank you. And my and my hairdresser has a sign on her station, says therapist, and I'm like, I can relate to that.
Me too.
And it's a good thing, because you need to understand that there's more going on in their life than buying and selling real estate, and it does factor in to maybe why they're buying and selling. So you kind of gotta bring
Consider
that into
those
the picture
factors.
and consider it.
Yep.
Okay. Well, ladies, I want to thank both of you for taking time out of your busy schedule. Oh, Dana's busy schedule.
Yeah.
Well, no,
she's
Well, the
gardening,
rain
that's
the rain
no
stopped
big-
me from gardening.
Yeah.
Yay.
and
She
Cindy,
get
you're
out
spending
of
a lot of
the
time with
garden.
grandkids these days,
I'm
so
loving it.
congratulations.
Thank you.
I really want to thank you for taking time out of your busy days to
You're welcome.
come and be with me in the park.
Fun to be here.
Scott Bush in the park
Great.
bench.
Thank you.
Any parting remarks you'd like to tell the members of the Greater Milwaukee Association of Realtors?
I would just say enjoy the business.
Yeah.
Enjoy
Perfect.
it. Roll with it. Be present. Be respectful. Have fun. And know your stuff. Know your stuff. You are the resource. And sometimes when people call and they need to vent, they just need to vent. Just don't take it personally. Just be open to everything that it brings your way.
You want to be that agent that other agents like to do business
Always.
with.
Yes,
Always. Always. That would be the thing. I guess that would be a good ending. You want to be that person.
All right, thank you so
Yeah.
much. Did you have something to...
No, I'm just gonna
okay.
second that.
Okay. Second that. Be that
She's
person.
right.
Great.
You know.
So, members of the Greater Milwaukee Association of Realtors, if you have an idea for Scott Bush from the park bench, if you'd like to be on the show, if you have a topic, give me a call. Other than that, thank you ladies very much.
Welcome.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Wave
Have a
bye.
great day.
Bye.